Okay, so Justin is on, so we can get started. So we're
We
gonna
need permission to record.
give me a second.
Cool.
Yeah, can I get permission also, Candace, please?
Yeah. All right, so everyone who asked to record, you should be good now. Let me know if you're not. So we are going to kick things off with Austin Ward.
That's better. Hey, Justin, how would you what kind of grade would you give that spin move on the scramble for the touchdown?
It was probably a B. You know, I wish I could have kept my feet up a little bit or stayed on my feet, but I'm just glad I scored. So, but I probably have to give it a B plus maybe.
Sorry, Candace, if I could follow up on that. When you decide to scramble, what's sort of the decision-making process as you go through it? How do you know when the time is right?
I mean, there's a lot of scenarios where, you know, I look to scramble. One, maybe being if I see open green grass and it's third down, and, you know, we need the first down. You know, that's one scenario where I might choose to scramble, and another is when nobody's open. And I think I can get some extra yards rather than throwing the ball away. I might as well make it like 2nd and 6, 2nd and 5 rather than 2nd and 10. So I think it's, you know, different for a lot of situations in the game.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Next up, Bill Rabinowitz.
Hi, Justin. I know you had committed to Penn State back in high school, and I'm sure the idea of playing in front of that crowd was one of the reasons that it was so enticing. What are your thoughts on going to Penn State for the first time and not having the whiteout, not even having any fans? Does that diminish in the experience, or are you kind of like glad that you're not going to have to endure that?
No, not really. I mean, I wasn't really going there for the experience. My plan on is going there to win, to beat Penn State. So whether that's with fans or without fans, you know, we have a job, and you know, I think our number one goal is to go out there and beat Penn State.
Next up, Dave Biddle.
Thank you. Justin, you had 15 carries. I know, you know, 3 of those include sacks, but you know, a lot of people think maybe that's too many carries for you. Where do you come down on that? Do you feel like that's too many carries for you, or do you feel like 15 is about right for you?
I don't really have a set number on what's right or not. I feel like it varies from, you know, game to game, you know, what situation I'm put in the game. So I think it, you know, differentiates between each game.
Thank you.
Up next, Stephen Means.
Hey, Justin. I think there was a play in the goal line situation where Garrett and Jeremy were kind of stacked on each other, and it looked like Garrett was open in the back of the end zone, and he was trying to wave at you to let you know he was there, but you took off. And he said that one of the reasons why is because you said you saw green grass, and so you thought it was a better decision just to take off and run for it. When you do scramble, how much of a conversation is it with your wide receivers afterward? And, you know, usually what are some of those explanations for why maybe even if they thought they were open, you decided that it wasn't a good look for you to throw the ball?
Yeah, so actually I remember the exact play you were talking about. And yeah, so that was a play action pass where I think it was 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 6. And Garrett was wide open in the end zone, but like I said before, I mean, I just saw green grass. And, I think the biggest part or a big part in playing quarterback is making decisions and not second guessing yourself. So I made that decision to tuck the ball down and run to go and get the first down. And I mean, it worked out. But I mean, I think there will be situations like that where I do have to keep my eyes downfield longer, to see guys open up. So, I think that'll come with time. But yeah.
Just one quick follow-up. Is Dave asking you, is he as on you about throwing the ball away as much as he was last year?
No, I think he has a lot more confidence in me. And, of course, last year was my first year starting. So, of course, he was on me a lot. But, there were multiple times where I should have just thrown the ball away last game. But I think Coach Day has that, certain confidence in me, and he trusts me more than last year. So I think he just, trusts me to make the right decision.
Thanks.
Up next, Dan Hope.
Hey, Justin. Coach Day's talked a lot about the expectations that are on you guys, and I know you have high expectations for yourself. Just how do you manage those to make sure you don't get caught up in trying to live up to the high expectations?
Yeah, I mean, of course, being at Ohio State, we expect to win every game. So, but managing those expectations, I think you just have to take it one game at a time, 1 week at a time. You can't really look into the future. And so that's what we try to do. Coach Day is just honest, about taking one game at a time, and our complete focus is on Penn State. It's not about last week what happened versus Nebraska. It's all on Penn State right now. So I think that's kind of how we keep our focus on one game, and that's what I guess the recipe to success is. Just focusing on one thing at a time.
Is it hard at all not to look ahead to the possibilities that could happen later in the year?
I don't think it's hard because if you mess up this week, that opportunity never comes. I mean, the past years, Ohio State's lost that one game to Purdue, and if they didn't lose that game, they most likely would have been in the college football playoff. So I don't think it's hard to look into the future. I think just focusing on the present and focusing on each game week by week. I think that's the best way to go by winning and getting to the place we want to be. Because if we know that we focus one game at a time, we know that at the end of the season we'll be right where we want to be.
Thanks, Justin.
Yep.
Up next, Tony Girdman.
Hey, Justin, we talked to Josh Myers yesterday, and he said that when you do run, they're going to make sure the offensive line is going to make sure to pick you up before there's anything funny happening in the pile. I'm wondering how often that happened this year or happened last year. Like, how often does that happen to you where maybe somebody tries to twist an ankle or grab you somewhere? Like, how much of a concern is that for you? How often does it happen?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely happened a little bit last game in terms of, I just getting tackled and guys trying to twist my ankle or whatnot. But I would say it happens more so when we play, I guess, I don't want to say worse teams, but like the teams that, I guess don't have that good of a chance in winning. They just try to do whatever, to be honest with you. And I think when we play teams that are, just more well coached and, better teams, I think it tends to happen less. And I think that, might come with respect, but I don't really know. I've never really seen the point into, twisting another guy's ankle or trying to, hurt him after the play's over. I just don't see the point in that. But, yeah.
Thanks.
Next up, Tim May.
Thank you very much. Hey, Justin, saw you and Josh Myers having some conversations coming off the field a few times and stuff. And just what are some of maybe the communication situations y'all maybe are getting straightened out this week in terms of blitzes, stunts and things like that? And what are you responsible for there? And what are Josh and the linemen responsible for there in those kind of situations?
Yeah, so me and Josh's communication is basically just making sure we're on the same page. I think that's why we talk and communicate off of the field. But basically his job is to, set the ID. And, of course, my my I guess role is to trump anything I see. So if I see some sort of rotation or if I see, maybe a look that they've given the week before or maybe last year, and I think a certain blitz is coming, I'm able to, move the protection to somewhere else or do that. So,
Yeah.
Of course, the quarterback trumps, what the O-line says, because I can see, I guess more of the field and kind of the whole field, because they're in that 3-point stance. But that's kind of our roles when it comes to, protections and stuff like that.
How important is it? How important is it this week against Penn State, which does bring a few every now and then?
Huh?
How important is that this week against Penn State, which does bring a few every now and then, if you know what I'm saying? Blitzes, et cetera.
I think it's important. I mean, I think it's the most important thing. Of course, I want to take as less hits as possible. So I think it's important every week, to be honest with you. I don't think it's, less important or more important than it was last week. It's, just has a, it's really one of our top priorities.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
Up next, Patrick Murphy.
Justin, you were after the game about Jackson's catch, and I know you said you didn't see it because you took a hit, but I assume you've seen it by now. Just your reaction to him getting in bounds and what he adds to this offense now that you guys have had a month or so to really work in pads and everything.
I mean, it's not really surprising to see, that catch he made. I mean, he does it all the time in practice. So, I think when the whole team saw it, we weren't surprised by, his ability to do that because, I mean, he's shown it multiple times in practice. But, Jackson's a great receiver with great speed, great hands, and, he runs great routes. So, he definitely brings another talented receiver to our already talented receiving core. And I'm just excited to, be able to to throw the ball to him.
And Garrett said yesterday that we haven't seen Julian at top speed yet, but a guy his size, his speed is surprising. What have you seen from him, and what can he bring as well?
I mean, the same thing, just great all-around receiver. He's a big body, of course. He runs great routes. He's definitely fast. He has great hands, so just another great receiver. I think Coach Hart does a great job with developing those guys and, making sure they're ready for the game.
Thanks, Justin.
Yeah.
Up next, Spencer Holbrook.
Yeah, the game definitely kind of looks slower. Like the defense looks slower moving, and I just think that comes with studying film and being with Coach Day so much and kind of getting that I guess that different perspective on the defense and kind of seeing what he's thinking when he's calling certain plays. So I think just as much time as I spend with him is good for me, and it definitely helps me out, and it definitely helps me to be a better quarterback.
Up next, Joey Kaufman.
Hey, Justin, you mentioned earlier about scrambling, that when you see an opening or green grass that you'll take it and scramble, and it kind of goes off what the defense gives you. But do you have when you think of games, or if you were to draw your ideal scenario, is there how much would you want to ideally scramble? How much do you want to throw? Do you ever think about it kind of in those ways?
No, I never really think about it like in terms of numbers. Like I said, I'm willing to do whatever, to help the team win, whether that's not scrambling at all, whether that's scrambling every play. It doesn't really matter to me.
How did you feel Sunday running 15 times and taking some sacks, being your first game in 10 months?
I mean, of course, I was sore. I mean, that was my first time getting hit in 10 months. But I'm recovering more and more each and every day, so I should be fully recovered by Saturday.
Up next, Colin Hassel.
Hey, Justin, I just wanted to ask specifically about the quarterback sneak, since you did it twice on Saturday. What sort of goes into a quarterback sneak in your mind, and why was that something that was so successful for you this weekend?
Well, of course, I think it starts up front. You know, we have a great lineman. We have a great center, Josh Myers, great guards with Wyatt Davis and Harry Miller. So, I mean, and then I also think it, you know, again, the amount of trust Coach Day has with me and, you know, putting me in those certain situations. But, yeah, I mean, I think that's more of a question for Coach Day on what goes into that play calling, you know, because he's a coach, but I just get to play and, you know, execute it to the best of my ability.
What for you though as a quarterback makes like how do you make that play successful as a quarterback? Is there anything other than just, you know, being tough and running as hard as you can straight?
I feel like, you know, a quarterback sneak, you can't really like describe like how to make it successful. Like I feel like I've always just had a feeling for, you know, finding a, you know, maybe an open gap or something like that. But I don't think there's a, you know, a set, you know, just example or description where you can describe how to be successful on a QB sneak.
Appreciate it.
I feel like I've always just, you know, just done it naturally, to be honest with you.
And last one, Pete Thamel.
Hey, Justin, I want to ask you something kind of from the big picture. You show up at Ohio State about a year and a half ago, and you have to adjust to teammates, learn them, and lead at the same time. And that has to be an interesting adjustment to both arrive and lead. And I'm wondering, just now that you've been in the program for a year, you had a whole off season with everybody, just how much more comfortable you are being an alpha in the program.
Yeah, I mean, I'm way more comfortable, you know, just, you know, I think that time that I've spent with guys in the off season, you know, the things that we have to go through the off season, I think that just made us, you know, a lot closer, and us not being able to, you know, have, you know, those relationships were kind of outside of the facility because of the pandemic and stuff going on. I think that's just kind of made us more of a family, even though we were already close, you know, as it was. So I think all of those intangibles and all of the stuff that has happened to us in the past has just made us closer. And I mean, you know, just that and seeing that, you know, that our guys are looking for that leader. I think, you know, I stepped in at the perfect time, and I think I've done a pretty good job leading my teammates.
And can I follow up just and ask you a little bit about footwork, which I know isn't like the sexiest thing, but that was when I talked to Ryan this weekend and I talked to Quincy yesterday. They said like your footwork is more aligned with your body now. Can you explain how that helps you as you go through your progressions be more accurate?
I'm not really sure what they meant by my footworking. My footwork
I guess
is
in
aligned
sync
with my
would
body.
might be a better, like, just if your footwork's in sync with your reads, it helps your accuracy.
I mean, yeah, that just comes with timing and, you know, knowing when that route is most likely going to open up and making sure you're on time. And I feel like if every quarterback is on time to a certain read or a certain route, that's definitely going to make them more accurate in terms of passing the ball. So I think, you know, that just comes with timing and kind of knowing who's running the route and, you know, what route is being ran and it just kind of knowing your guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you very much, Justin. Have a good day.
All right, Candace. Appreciate it. See you guys.
So we will have Nicholas Petit-Frere in about 15 minutes. So everybody just sit tight. All right, everyone, we have Nicholas Petit-Frere here. So we are going to get started with Tim May.
Thank you very much, Candace. Hey, Nick, on Saturday, you guys, for the most part, played pretty well on the offensive line, but there seemed to be a few times when some guys came free on some stunts, et cetera. And how much have you guys talked about that since then, and how, and I know you're going to give me the good answer here, but how important is communication up front in those kind of situations?
Well, communication is obviously huge, especially for offensive line play. So that's been a big point that we've had this week for us working on stunts and stuff like that. Just trying to fix any team corrections we had over the week. So that was one of the corrections that we were fixing at the moment. We've been doing a good job with practice so far yesterday, and we're going to keep working on it today. And throughout the week, we're going to keep going.
Yeah, from film you've seen or video you've seen, how active is Penn State in that regard, stunning, blitzing, et cetera?
Over film, we know that they're a very talented team with a great defensive end, a great D lineman overall. They're very active with their blitz and stunts and stuff like that. So, we've just been watching film from the Indiana game and the games we've had prior to. So we've just been prepared for anything, whether they stunt or they don't stunt, the type of blitzes they may run and things like that. So we've just been preparing, watching a lot of film together as a unit and by ourselves, trying to find ways for us to figure out game plan and strategies for them.
Thanks, man.
Up next, Brendan Gulick. You're muted, Brendan.
Sorry about that. I thought I unmuted. Apologize. Nick, thanks for joining us, man. Wanted to ask you a little bit about how you might self-evaluate that first start, and if there are things that you are still trying to achieve considering the way things went this weekend.
Overall, I think it was a good start for that weekend, for this weekend on last Saturday. There's always stuff for me to improve on. There's a lot of things I want to get better with my game, and more things I want to do. I want to get more comfortable around the guys and the offense and things like that, and just get tighter as a unit, get tighter as a team. So overall, we always have stuff for us to improve on. We're not at the level we want to be at yet, but we're going to keep working hard during practice and throughout these weeks for us to get better.
Tell me a little bit about Shaka Toney and the challenges that come with trying to block him.
Well, he's a very athletic defensive end, very talented. I know Penn State had a lot of great rushes last week against Indiana, and last year they were a very talented team. So he's going to be a great competitor for me to go up against, and for me and Thayer to go up against, whoever's playing. So we're just ready for us to go after him and do our best.
Thank you.
Up next, Nathan Baird.
Hey, Nick. Coach Jadrawa was here a couple weeks ago talking to us about your efforts to gain weight over the offseason. Just what was that like? How did you kind of attack your meal plan, I suppose? And he said that your mom was kind of reaching out to them, asking to send even more food. So how did you guys kind of figure out what to do about that?
Well, during the quarantine break, we had that whole 3-month span where we were just kind of by ourselves, and we had to be accountable for ourselves in terms of weight room, nutrition, and things like that. So a goal for me that was set by the coaches and myself was for me to gain about 10 more pounds to get to around 315, around that weight goal. So, it was just a lot of eating. It was good because of how a lot of people kind of hated quarantine for the most part, because everyone was kind of staying at home and they didn't really have a lot of things to do. But for me, I took it as an advantage for me to go and eat as much as I can, weight train as much as I can, and do the little things right and things like that. So yeah, it was kind of hard with me eating and being at home a lot, because my mom wasn't used to having me back for that month of time. That was one of the big selling points for me going to college, is that once I'm out of the house, her whole food plan would just drop immensely. So it was kind of a change for her having me back for 3 months, but we enjoyed it, so it was all good.
What can you do at 315 that you couldn't do last season?
I just feel better. It's all about the confidence when at this position and playing offensive line and things like that. When it comes to just feeling better about your body, feeling stronger, And I feel like I haven't lost any speed. Like it's just, I feel better about myself. I feel more confident about myself. I feel like stronger and more physical with everything I do.
Up next, Daniel.
Hey, Nicholas, just wanted to ask you, just what did it mean to you to, be in the starting lineup finally and to make that first start at right tackle on Saturday?
It's huge. I've been working at that ever since last year, from January all the way through, trying to find a way for me to compete and get that starting spot. So it's been a lot of work, from nutrition to football and film analysis and things like that. So I'm very blessed and thankful for me to get that opportunity this previous weekend, for me to get a start and be a starter along with all the rest of the guys that are playing right now. Like, it's just a blessing to be here.
Do you feel like you're finally where you're supposed to be as a player?
I feel like I'm getting there. I mean, there's always other stuff I can work on. I can get more film analysis, get better with my technique, anything that I can do to get better. So I'm never, ever going to feel like I'm at where I'm supposed to be at. I always feel like I can improve, but I do feel very confident at the moment about where I am and how I've been doing. And I've been getting good admiration from the coaches and things like that. So it just feels like I'm more along with the program as a whole.
Thanks, Nicholas.
Up next, Austin Ward.
Hey, Nick, what feels better, getting named a starter or getting a champion grade?
I mean, obviously getting a championship ring. I mean, that's been the goal when I came here, was for me to find a way to win championships. That's why I chose Ohio State. But being named the starter is just a blessing. I'm very grateful and thankful to the coaches and everyone that got me to this point for me to get an opportunity to even get a chance to start and play. So, but obviously the championship ring is always the number one goal, no matter what.
Sorry, that must have been Zoom. I just meant getting you graded out a champion on Saturday, or on Saturday for the first start. I don't want to skip ahead to the rings. I know that's for January, but you get your first start, but then it's validated by the way you grade it out.
It's kind of a mixture of both. I mean, like, always our expectation is for us to be graded as a champion. Like, that's why we're in the game. We're supposed to find a way for us to grade as a champion, because that means we did our job. That's a big philosophy out here, is to do your job. And for us to do our job is that everyone here is supposed to be graded as a champion. And if we have that, then we'll find a way to win games. So, both are equally important. But, like, I'm just glad that I was able to do my job, which meant that I was graded out as a champion. And I'm also, like I said, very grateful for the opportunity for me to get a chance to start.
Thanks, man.
Up next, Bill Landis.
Hey, Nick, did you really pull a gutter off the side of your house when you were working out at home back in the spring?
Yeah, so I was trying to find a place to do pull-ups. So, like, as you know, in Florida, it was like kind of bad having the virus there and everything. So I really couldn't go to any gyms or anything like that. So I had to do a lot of stuff at home. So I thought my roof could support me, and I was kind of mistaken by that. So there was a few things that were broken in that first week or two when I was back home trying to work out and stuff. When I knew that, like, we had to be quarantined, and I was working out by myself and stuff like that. But, like, once stuff kind of got better with quarantine and everything like that, I was able to go out to gym. So there was no more broken stuff in my mom's house.
Did you have to fix all that, or how did that go?
We had our HOA come through, so we had to figure it out. We were able to, like, talk to them about it.
Thanks.
Next up, Patrick Murphy.
Nick, yesterday, Josh told us that when he's playing and blocking with Wyatt, he can feel that it's Wyatt, just the way he blocks. I'm curious, on the other side of Wyatt there, do you notice just those blocks that they're different coming from a guy like Wyatt?
Oh, they're huge. I mean, when Wyatt was saying that he was when he opted out at first from the go to the NFL when they canceled our season, it was a big blow to us because, like, Wyatt's such an amazing player. And, like, having him next to me, everything just felt so easy and, like, good because he's just such an amazing player. So having him back practice just flipped to another level. Like, it went from, like, having good practices to, like, almost being, like, amazing because Wyatt is just such an amazing player and such a great talent. So, yeah, I would, like Josh said, like, there's just a different feel when you have Wyatt with you. He's just so talented. He moves his body really well, has great core strength. So, like, everything just kind of works to, like, having just, like, the best type of block with him.
Thanks, man.
Up next, Bill Rabinowitz.
Hi, Nicholas. You obviously were a five-star guy and come in with all this hype, and it took you a little while to get your body right. What was that process like for you? Has it been a difficult thing, and does that make it more satisfying that you're where you are now?
Yeah, it's been difficult. I mean, just trying to gain weight like consistently with the amount of running and training that we do on a day-to-day basis, along with school and things like that. It was a whole different feel for me coming out of high school. So yeah, it feels more rewarding after having all this time finally being at a place that I feel a little bit even more comfortable than last year or the year before that. It's just that constant growth and improvement each and every year. It's just kind of very satisfying.
And on a different note, you probably saw what happened with Wisconsin, the outbreak that they had, and they had to cancel their game against Nebraska. Does that kind of reinforce what Ryan Day tells you every day, drums it into your guys' heads, how careful you have to be? Does that give you pause?
I don't know if you can reinforce any more than what Coach Day has already told us. Like we've been from day one, ever since, even during quarantine, like from that moment on, we've been like we have to be careful around the people we've been around. Everyone, we have to treat almost like everyone has a virus. Like so, although yes, that does like has like some cause of concern. Like it doesn't change anything that Coach Day's been saying for months now. Like it's always been be careful, always wear a mask, always have to like self isolate, do things so we can have the best season we possibly can.
Thank you.
Next, Doc.
Hey, Nick, how is Justin different this year, just overall?
I remember him talking about him going on a vegan diet, I think.
Yeah.
So that's been really helpful for him in terms of his body. He says that he feels great whenever he talks to me about that type of stuff. Or I hear him in the locker room talking to the other guys about it, like getting other kids kind of to join in on the bandwagon with the vegan diet. I don't think I'll join, but no, I just know that he's been a great player. He's been doing a lot of film work, a lot of studying during quarantine break. After once we got back here, he's always in the meeting room. He's always like a lot more calories that I would have to intake, so that's why I kind of stayed away from it. Or a lot of food. So
Thank you.
Up next, Tony Girdman.
Nick, so you're breaking your mom's house. You're eating all of her food. Are you allowed back home?
I'm always allowed back home. My mom loves it. Like we just did a lot of spaghetti and stuff like that. That's kind of how we managed it. So like I've been doing that here, I've been doing that back at home. So just that's kind of been like that was almost like my breakfast, lunch, and dinner for like 2 to 3 weeks there.
And you mentioned Shaka Tony earlier. What about Jay Boyd, the other defense fan? What does he present to you guys?
Another great edge rusher with that Penn State defense. Very talented as well, athletic, strong. So it's just another great challenge for us to get better, for us to find ways for us to compete. So we're just ready for us to compete. That's all. That's all we want to do. That's all we've been trying to do. That's why we wanted to play this year, for us to find a way to compete.
Thank you.
Up next, Stephen Means.
Hey, Nick, just kind of focused on your development a little bit. When we talked to Coach Stud, he talked about how even though it took you 3 years to get onto the starter, you've been on the right track this entire time. But for you as a player who came in highly rated, did it always feel like, you were on the right track all the time, even the last 2 years when, you didn't necessarily have a starting role?
Looking at it from the long run, yes. But like in the moment, sometimes it didn't feel that way. Like sometimes, there's always ups and downs at this program. You could be on a high track, feeling like you're always doing great, and then one day you just kind of have a stutter. You just don't really know what's going on, and then sometimes you kind of decline a little bit, but you got to find a way to get back. So looking at it from the long run, it's just a lot of me developing from the film side and understanding the football side of things to the weight room side and strength side and understanding how to get my body a certain way and how to maintain. And then from just a confidence side of, okay, now you got to put it all together. You have the weight, you have the film study. Now you have to put it all together with the confidence and the aggression that you need to do for you to play off the line.
So when that's happening, how do you keep yourself from getting discouraged?
Can you say that again?
How do you keep yourself from getting discouraged when you're going through all that?
It's a lot of things. Mostly it's the unit. It's the power of the unit. It's the guys around me because there's older guys that know what I'm going through. Like we always, like almost everyone goes through similar things. Like they always see people go through highs. They always see people go through lows. And an older guy knows those feelings. So like when I see like a freshman going through that type of stuff, I was there as a freshman. I know that high feeling at first, and then that kind of low, and a midpoint, and then kind of a decline as well. So we always pick each other up. So it's always been about the unit and the brotherhood that we had with my brothers in the offensive line room.
And last question, Joey Kaufman.
Hey, Nick, having looked at the film now and reviewing last Saturday's game, how did you guys feel you did with the run game?
There was a few things that we could have done better. There's always room for improvement for everything that we do, whether it's the run game, pass game, communication, everything. So, it's just something that we want to improve on and get better with. That was a big point for us this week. We want to try to improve on what we did from last week and get better, especially in the run game, passing game. So like in all facets, we just want to get better. So that we just want to find a way for us to improve and practice hard.
Where do you think you guys can improve most in the run game?
It depends on what type of play we're doing or anything like that. Like some plays, it's kind of more about like the point of attack and getting stronger there. Other plays, it's more about like us being able to combo together and things like that. So it just depends on what type of play we're talking about. But in an overall facet, we just want to get better as a team running the ball.
Okay, thank you very much, Nick. You are free to go. Have a good day.
Great. Thank you.
So up next, we have Chris Booker. So we'll get him set up.
I'm good.
Okay, we have wide receiver and special teams player of the week, Chris Booker. And we're going to start with Bill Rabinowitz. You're muted, Bill.
There we go. Sorry about that. Could you just kind of describe your journey? You were at UD a couple of years ago and didn't play at all, and then come here through the club team. How would you describe this journey you've been on?
So yeah, it's been a crazy journey. So yeah, I first started at UD. I redshirted there my freshman year. In the spring, I kind of wasn't feeling it. Football has always been a love of my life. I've played the game since I was about 7 or 8. I can't even remember, but that's about 15 years. That's 15, 16 years now. And at the end of my freshman year, I was really kind of feeling like it wasn't it for me, and I should just move on with the rest of my life and find other opportunities elsewhere. So that's kind of why I transferred out of UD. And then my grandma talked to me, and she was like, "I think you should come to Ohio State with my cousin," because my cousin came here, and so I thought that was a good idea. So I went ahead and applied and got in. And at first, when I first came here, I wasn't even planning on being on the football team. I didn't plan on playing football at all. I was just, going about my business, being a student. And about a year went by, and I was playing like flag football with my cousin and his friends, and a bunch of them said I could still play, and I kind of missed the game a little bit. Not gonna lie, playing flag football. So I thought, just why not try it out? They said I could join the club team. So I found out about the club team on campus. I talked to one of the officers they had, Dylan Barron, and I came to my first practice, and fell in love with the game again. And I was playing that, and my coach, James Greger, he had been reaching out. He talks to Tim Hinton and Justin Perez, a couple of the player personnel people here, and he showed him my film. And next thing you know, that June, I was getting a call from Justin Perez. They asked me to come in for a meeting, and I came in, met Coach Hartline, Coach Keenan Bailey, and that was it. Joined the team that July, I think July 15th, and it's been history since then. So.
Wait, July 15th of what year? This year?
Last year, July 15th,
Last year, right.
2019. Yeah.
Okay, and to earn your way onto the coverage units, how'd you do that, and what does that mean to you?
Hard work and effort. It means so much to me. Just to be able to get the opportunity to play football again, because after I lost interest in it, there was kind of a big hole in my life, and because I've been doing it for so long, and I fell in love with it, and I didn't really have any other sports because I wasn't playing any other sports in college, and in high school I had like track and basketball and other stuff and baseball, but when I got to college I was just playing football. So I always loved sports. Football was definitely my biggest love though, and I missed it. And once I got to be playing again, and once I got back up at the varsity level, I really started falling in love with the game again. And my whole thing is I can always control my effort. And they teach it here, like you can always control your effort and your hard work and the work you put in. But you can't control your circumstances and everything else. So that's all I try to control. And I was blessed to get the opportunity. The coaches, they took a chance on me because I'm a walk-on. I hadn't played and since my high school senior year. Well, I played club, but I hadn't really played in about a year, and they really took a chance on me, and I really appreciate the opportunity, and that's really all I can say. Like, I'm just blessed.
Thank you, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Next, Dan Hope.
Hey, Chris, are there things that you think you learned from that experience playing at the club level that you've now been able to translate over to playing at the varsity level?
Yeah, playing at the club was so much fun, man. I really fell in love with the game again because, when you get to college, it's a whole nother animal. Like you're doing it 6 days a week. It takes up a lot of your time, and then the rest of the time really budgeting around, trying to do homework, trying to hang out with your friends, like trying to do all that other stuff. But it all centers around football, and football is most of your time. And with club, the differences in club is we only practice like 2 or 3 days a week, and the rest of the time I got to hang out with the dudes. It really just felt like high school again, and just being able to go out there and play with my brothers. And I made some lifelong friends on the club team, and I won't forget my experiences there, and it really had me fall in love with the game again. I'm extremely grateful for that opportunity.
What made you decide that I should go back and play varsity football again if I get this opportunity at Ohio State?
Well, honestly, like it was the opportunity. Like Coach Greger, the club team coach, he had been reaching out to Tim Hinton, and he made me my highlight tape from the club, and it was really just him, like him working so hard to get me on the team, and constantly plugging Hinton and Perez and all those guys just to give me a chance, and really just me being adamant with it, and staying patient, and just being ready to go, and I can't thank him enough.
Thank you, Chris.
Next, Mark Snyder.
Yeah, Chris, in 2016, Ohio State lost a game against Penn State because of a fiasco on a punt. And then the following year, Saquon Barkley returned one all the way. Could you talk about Ohio State guarding against Penn State, breaking a big return, and also what do you see in Penn State's return game?
Well, first of all, Penn State, they always have a dynamic guy back there. That's something that they always bring to the table. They always have a lot of talent. They're gonna run fast. They're gonna hit you hard, and they're gonna work as hard as us. But it's just like whoever's tougher is gonna come out the victor at the end of the day. So, what we got to do is make sure we got to bring the energy and do our jobs. Make sure that we got everything handled on our side. Make sure. I mean, I've been watching film like all week. We got a pretty good plan going into the game. I say for the kicking unit. So I think we are. I think we are prepared. It's just we got to go out and execute. That's all it is.
What did you think when it looked like Indiana let down on a kickoff return and the Penn State returner picked it up and ran right up the middle? It looked like almost like a dummy play in practice. Is that the worst nightmare for one of the worst nightmares for a coverage team?
Well, what we do is we try to prepare for everything. Whatever, I mean, they throw so much stuff at us in practice. So whatever you get in the game, whatever you see, we probably already got it in practice. So it's just always trying to be prepared and keep your guard up and make sure that you know your job and how to do your job. And if every guy on the field does their job, you'll be fine. But yeah, that's basically it.
Thanks.
Up next, Dennis Dodd.
Hey, Chris, I wonder if you've considered how many guys on earth can tell maybe prospective dates that they've played with both Ezekiel Elliott and Justin Fields.
Probably not that many guys.
What?
I don't know if I'm the only one, but that's great.
Who plays club football? I know you love football, but there's got to be injury considerations, insurance, everything else. What did you get out of it?
You'll find some of the best guys down there.
Yeah.
Because they have to pay for their equipment. They have to pay for the school. You know, they're not on scholarship. Most guys aren't on scholarship. Some might have academic scholarships in special circumstances. But almost everybody on the field is just playing because they love the game still. A couple guys use club to try to get the opportunity to play on the varsity level here. But other than that, they just play for the love of the game, and that's why it was so special. That's why they were able to win the national championship last year, because everybody is just so invested in it, and there's really just wonderful people down at that level, and I mean at this level too.
Right.
But you know, it's different circumstances. Obviously, they have scholarships up here, and down here it's just really. You know, it's just for the love of the game.
Did you ever pause and, in practice or something and tell you, wow, I am catching passes from Justin Fields?
It's crazy. It's crazy, And Justin is one of the greatest players I've ever played with. Had a pleasure to speak in with him, and just being around him every day. You know, it's amazing. Just where I've been, and being able to be in the circumstances I'm in, it's really incredible. So
real quick, who was your quarterback on the club team?
Kellen Garanstein. Kellen, he's an amazing person, man, and I think he loves the Buckeyes even more than I do. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see him up here next year. But
okay,
he's a great guy. Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Next, we have Patrick Murphy.
Chris, I assume you know that James used to do this and cover the football team, so we know him, that side of him. Tell me about James as Coach Grega.
Coach Grega, he's he's a younger coach, so it's like he's just one of the guys out there, but he knows exactly what he's doing, and it's like he was born to coach. Like being a quarterback, he played on the club team, played in high school. He knows the system. He knows exactly what we got to do to win. He's a great game plan strategist. He knows exactly what you got to do, and he's a great motivator too. Like he's a great person overall. I really can't say enough about him as a person because he's really the reason why I'm here. So you'll hear me share. Like if you ask me about him again, you'll hear me say that every time because it's really like it's him. He's the reason. So I'm really appreciative of him. But he's a great coach. Yeah, and a great guy to be around.
And we ask guys, freshmen that come up from high school all the time, the biggest jump, what you noticed was the biggest thing. But obviously you were at Dayton, you played club football. So the transition to the varsity level, what was it like for you having kind of those steps in between?
Mm-hmm. First thing that came to mind when you said that was speed. Speed is so much different from club to high school to even Dayton. At this level, it's just it's a different speed. And the other thing I noticed is I also had to get stronger because when I left Dayton after being in a collegiate like weight program, it's so much different than like going back and trying to work out a guard pack by yourself. So when I got here, I was just like, that was my goal. That was my goal in the fall last year when I joined the team was to put on some weight and get stronger. And like putting on about 10 to 15 pounds, 10 pounds in the regular season last year, working up to that, and then another 10 in the off season this year has really like helped me get my confidence back. Just help me play better as a player. I feel faster, feel stronger, everything. So I would say those two things.
Thanks, Chris.
Next, Brendan Gulick.
Hey, Chris, I was kind of hoping you could take us back to your first meeting with Coach Day. What were your impressions? Did he say anything to you that really resonated? What was that first meeting like?
Coach Day is always busy, so you don't get a lot of conversations with him. So you try to cherish the time you have with him. But every time I talk to Coach Day, he's always positive. He's always looking to give you praise for what you have done, but always look at what you can do to improve as a good coach will. And I think just what separates him is his dedication. He'll probably be here. He tells us about like what he has to do with his family, and I'm not gonna repeat like if he doesn't want me to, but like he's extremely dedicated. And you can tell just by the way he talks to his players. I'm just a walk-on, like, and he actually knows me as a person. Like he's invested. So, yeah, great person. I think the first time we ever really talked was maybe last year when I came in and I saw him around, and it's just like a little hi or bye or whatever, like one of those little things. You don't get a lot of time to Coach Day, but recently I've been talking to him a lot, and I've been going back and forth from offense and defense, and we've been talking about that a little bit, and also he's been congratulating me on everything I've done on special teams. So I really thank you, Coach Day.
One more thing too, I realize it might be hard to ask this because you're in the moment, but you've got a different perspective because of all this different experience. What does it mean to you to be an Ohio State player?
I think, it's at this level, you really can't help but be like grateful for everything that comes to you, because the competition that obviously the competition here is pretty it's like the first thing you think about when you come to a place like Ohio State. It's a top 3 program. You get all the best recruits, all the best talent. So you're gonna have to work hard if you want to see the field at all. And just what I've been able to accomplish is nothing short of a mirror. I mean, it's amazing. And the opportunities they have given me is amazing as well. And I'm just grateful, and I can't say that enough. And, yeah.
You got a really cool story, man, and wish you the best.
Thank you.
And last question goes to Tim May.
Thanks, Candace. Chris, just real quickly, everybody's watched the movie Rudy. You got in on the last play of the last game, the last couple plays, et cetera. I don't know if you watched that or not, but I wanted to ask you, when was that moment in practice when you noticed that instead of being one of those walk-ons, you made a play where coaches from then on, and maybe even fellow players, were paying attention to you? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I know just a player. It was a 7-on-7 kind of. It was a 7-on-7 play. I had a speed out, and I got open. I broke my man off pretty well. And after that, right afterwards, Coach Alford came up to me and he was like, "How many years you got left?" And I told him it was my last year, and he said, "That's a shame because you've really gotten better." And after that, I started to notice everybody kind of saying we see you coming in, you gotten bigger. Like all throughout the offseason, they were saying like I got bigger too. So just like stuff like that.
Was that the moment though when you knew there was a shot at playing? You know what I mean? Not just being on the team, but playing. Was
that I would say when Coach Mick told me. Coach Mick came up to me one day and was like, which is really it really meant so much to me. But he came up to me one day after practice and he was like, "If you keep doing what you're doing, you're gonna play." Wow. And I was like, I really didn't even know what to say because not a lot of walk-ons play here. And I'm new to the team too, and I haven't been here as long as any other walk-on. So I was just patiently waiting for my turn. But when he told me that, I really my mindset kind of changed. Like, okay, I could probably do this.
Hey, thanks, man.
All right, that is it for Chris Booker. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you, guys.
So we have Shaun Wade at around 1 o'clock, so you guys can go and grab lunch. Good. All right, everyone, we have Shaun Wade here. We are going to get started with Nathan Bard.
Hey, Shaun, when you were making your decisions as to whether or not to play this season, you talked about wanting clarity from the Big Ten as far as their procedures and things like that. So I guess just what's your reaction to what's going on with the outbreak at Wisconsin and seeing that resulted in a game being canceled? What is your level of confidence in the Big Ten right now?
I can't really worry about other teams. I can only worry about my team. So with my team, I'm very confident. Everybody's taking the protocols day by day, doing what they're supposed to do, staying with wearing their mask. So I just can't worry about other teams. I only worry about what's happening here right now.
Coach Day the other day said that it's still something that he's been pounding into you guys, but what are you individual players doing to hold each other accountable? Because obviously the coaches aren't always around. So what sort of message is there? Are you ever in a position where you're telling a guy, don't do this, or are you seeing that happening around the team?
Yeah, definitely. Like a lot of leaders just telling young guys to stay in. I know it's your freshman year, you want to go out, go have fun, but just sacrifice just a little bit of too much just for us. And they've been doing well right now. So just we'll keep on doing that. Keep on talking to everybody. Just making sure we stay inside, wear our masks. If we go out to get some food or anything, just make sure we wear our masks everywhere we go. At the end of the day, it's COVID-19. You just don't know how people's getting it. So at the end of the day, as long as I feel like people just wear their masks, we'll be straight.
Next, Andy Anders.
Yeah, Shaun, I was just curious. You guys had some trouble against the tight ends with Nebraska. Obviously, Pat Freiermuth is a big challenge this weekend at that position. Without giving too much away, what have you guys done to adjust to that part of the passing game?
To be honest, we haven't done nothing yet. In our play scheme, we just had practice yesterday, so we haven't really done that yet. We talked about the tight end a couple of times. Talked with Pete, I talked with Barron, talked with Proc, and then myself. We all talked about just the tight end, like different ways we could guard him and stuff like that. But we haven't really put no scheme in.
What did you talk about with Proc and Warner? You mentioned talking to those guys. What was kind of the consensus about that?
Just the tight end, how good he is. He's a very elite tight end. Really doesn't like to block. He'll block, but doesn't like to block. Has great hands. Guys run great routes. He did a stick knot last week against Indiana. That was like perfect. So just helping them boys out and just giving them some tips and stuff from last year.
Thank you.
Next, Austin Ward.
Shaun, I know that was a tough play and the coverage was good, but you didn't hold on to the football for that pick. Considering how, maybe few opportunities you might have this year, were you kicking yourself over that? How did you respond to putting it on the ground?
I definitely was kind of hard on myself about dropping it, but at the end of the day, it's a PPU. But I got my hands on the ball. Like I said, it's just for the team, it's not for myself. I'm back, and that's just for the team, it's not for myself. So really just looking forward to this week. Last week is last week. Really looking forward to this week. It's gonna be a big week this week. So.
Coach Combs talked about that one after the game. How great everything looked leading up to that catch. How did you feel in that first game, first time to really show what you could do at that outside spot that you look forward to for so long?
It felt good. Been looking for it for a long time, but at the end of the day, it was different on the field with just no fans and stuff. Not gonna lie about that, it's different. But at the end of the day, we pump each other up on the sideline, get each other hype on the sideline. So that's what's different about this year and last year. It's like the team pumping everybody up and making sure everybody's hype and ready to play instead of the fans.
Thanks, man.
Up next, Bill Rabinowitz.
Hi, Shaun. You're one of the few players that actually has experienced a whiteout at Penn State. First of all, what was that like, that experience of playing there? And how much are you going to miss not having that atmosphere this week or like it?
I love the whiteout. That's it's definitely a challenge, a big stage in college football, a big stage in our life as a Buckeye. And, I really was looking forward to it this year, but it didn't happen. But that's probably one of the funniest and best games that like I ever been a part of in my college career. So I really love the whiteout. I love the competition. I love their fans just trying to rile us up and all that. I love that. I love that because at the end of the day, when we go there and we win, it shuts them up. So I really wish they had it this year, but at the end of the day, COVID-19 hit, so it can't do nothing about it.
You were obviously the leader of the secondary, and Nebraska didn't test you guys deep all that much. How do you feel that your unit is progressing right now?
At first we came in the game timid, which is a lot of players' first time starting playing in general. So I understand that feel. I'm glad we got that out the way. And I felt we was playing very well, making tackles, shedding blocks and making tackles. So we really didn't get challenged downfield like you said, but this week is definitely gonna be a challenge with they're number 5, they got 3 in the slot, they got 11, 13, all of them are kind of deep ball fast guys and the quarterback will throw it. So we'll definitely have a challenge this week.
Thanks, Shaun.
Next, Stephen Means.
Hey, Shaun, I know one of the reasons you came back is for the opportunity to play outside, and now that you had a full game under your belt playing that, and when you go back and look at the film, were you pretty happy with what you were able to do in that first opportunity?
You could say that. I know I got more in me, but you could say I was pretty happy. But I definitely know I got more in me. Me and Coach Combs talked and said we definitely had more in me. But it was the first experience outside in a real game, so it was fun, and I loved it.
And you have a lot of experience in that slot, and you guys are playing 2 new guys, Marcus and Cam there. With your experience, especially within this scheme last year, how are you maybe helping those 2 guys through that, one with the first and second down situations and the other guy in the third down pass situation? How are you helping them kind of adjust to that role?
Just give them some ideas and tips that I did last year. Playing on, playing off, when to play on, when to play off, how to guard certain people. Just helping them with different tips. It's definitely a different adjustment for everybody. So, with Marcus, he might have something that feels more comfortable than Cam or with me when I play slot. So it's different. It's a different adjustment for everybody.
What's harder, outside or inside?
I have those things. I have to wait. I have to wait till the end of the year to give you that answer.
All right. Thanks.
Next, Spencer Holbrook.
Oh yeah, definitely. But their receivers, they're quick and fast guys. Watching them from last year to this year, they're definitely different receivers, especially number 5. Very quick guy, deep ball threat. You see, he had the deep ball against Indiana. So they got great receivers there. They got a great quarterback. He'll keep the play alive at any time. He can scramble. He's very fast. Can scramble, get out the pocket. So really, it's going to be a challenge for our defense in general, just not our secondary. Our D line, our linebackers. They down to their third string running back, but they got all their O linemen back. So at the end of the day, like it's on the O lineman, not the running back. So the running back makes the cuts, but the O lineman pushes the piles. I wouldn't say it was disappointment. All I care about is getting the win at the end of the day. So.
Up next, Dan Hope.
Hey, Shaun, when you were out there on Saturday, did you think at all about how close it was to that not happening again?
No, not really. I was just happy to be on the field, to be honest. It was kind of sad not having fans, but I was just happy to be back in the shoe, to play in the shoe again, getting the opportunity just to play with everybody, play with different people on the field from last year, not having Jordan Fuller, Damon Arnett, Jeff Okuda, and having just different people, seeing how they react to when things go bad and how they react to when things go good. So it was definitely a good experience just to learn more about my teammates and a real game experience.
when you've gone through, everything this summer and, almost opting out and opting back in, does that make you appreciate this opportunity to play more?
Oh yeah, definitely. Just not having football in general makes me appreciate football and the game more. And then having this team make me appreciate the Ohio State alum, just Ohio State in general, and then appreciate my teammates. There's a lot of great players here, and they're doing big things, and they're sacrificing a lot just to play this season. They're sacrificing 2 months of their life where they can't go out. They have to stay in and wear a mask everywhere just to play in 2 months of a football season. So it's definitely a blessing just to be around these type of players.
Thanks, Shaun.
Up next, Dennis Dodd.
Okay. Hey, Shaun, I wonder what, from your perspective, is different about Justin Fields this year.
Oh, that vegan diet.
Yeah.
He slimed up. He slimed up a lot, lost some weight, toned up, and he looks good. Arms stronger. He has great receivers out there that he's throwing the ball to. Great old line. So it's Justin at the end of the day. He's a guy. He's a dude that can do anything, and the sky's the limit for him.
Is he trying to push the vegan diet on anybody?
I talked to him about it. I thought about it, but I was like, nah, I can't do it. I'm too skinny for that. So
okay. How about leadership? Is there anything different? I mean, we obviously know how good he is, Heisman finals and everything. Taking control more, anything like that?
Oh yeah, definitely. Just getting a year under his belt from last year, and then coming into this year, he definitely had to step up, being more vocal, talking to the offense, talking to the defense. But his leadership it definitely has grown. He's definitely, I won't say a different person, but he adds some more characteristics to himself.
Great, thank you.
Up next, Brendan Gulick.
Hey, Shaun. Nathan asked you about the Wisconsin situation. I was kind of hoping I could build off that for a second. Does seeing how things can fall apart for a team so quickly. I mean, they had no negative tests before Friday's game from players or coaches, and then bang, all of a sudden, now they're not playing a game this weekend. Does that kind of help you guys live in the moment a little bit better and just sort of be grateful for what you've got today?
Definitely. We really didn't talk about it as a team yet, but just as a unit and talking to like a couple friends and teammates, it definitely is a blessing just to embrace the moment that you have now. Like, cause it can be taken away just like that. Like we talk about every week. We got to focus on this week, not next week or the week after, because this week is the most important week that we have right now. This day is the most important day. So you just got to focus on what you got right now, because at the end of the day, nothing is promised. And you see with Wisconsin, they lost a couple players, and they had to sit out for 7 days, and those players are done for 3 weeks. So you gotta focus on what you got now. You can't be ahead of yourself when you beat a team or anything. You still have to quarantine, you still have to wear your mask, and you still have to be a grown man about your work. So.
I know you touched a little bit already on how you were grateful for being able to play on Saturday and enjoying working with your teammates. Do you have a moment or a routine or something that you do pregame, whether it was just this week or something you've done throughout your career, something where maybe you take a couple minutes to yourself to just be grateful for what you have and then let all the hype of the team and all the adrenaline kind of take over from there?
Every game I pray at the same spot. Every game, no matter home or away, I go to the 50-yard line when we come out and I pray, and I just be thankful for where I'm at, be thankful for who I'm playing with, just who my parents are at the end of the day, who God put me around, learning different characteristics from a lot of people, and I just pray on the 50-yard line every game. So that's something, a routine. I do that every game.
Love that. Thanks, man.
Up next, Patrick Murphy.
Shaun, you talked about your play on the outside, the slot guys. How would you grade what Seven was able to do in his first major action? And then just the secondary as a whole, a lot of new guys out there, a lot of new faces. How do you kind of evaluate your guys' performance on Saturday, even though you weren't tested a ton?
It was rough at first, but we definitely came back and stuck to the game plan and just wrapped up and made tackles. That's what's been a lot of problem in the college football game today. People have not been wrapping up because you haven't had camp and you didn't have spring. So it's just hard to just tackle in practice when you got to play in 4 weeks during camp and that's during school. So definitely was different, but with Seven's doing great. He's going to do great things definitely this week. Last week really didn't challenge us, so we really can't say nothing. With the secondary of whole, I know we're going to be good. We got a lot of smart players. You got athletes on the field. You see Hook is a great safety back there. He gets players down. You see Proc can play any position. He plays safety, he can play cover safety, he play corner in my opinion. So we just got a lot of athletes. We got a lot of depth. Really just looking forward to this week. This week is definitely going to be a challenge for us and us and our D line, and it's just really looking forward to it.
And you touched on the lack of fans there, but you did have Coach Combs back on the sideline. How much energy did that bring to things?
You know, he brings the energy every game, no matter what. He brings it in practice, the meetings, and everything. So I'm glad to have him back, glad to have his energy, glad to have his coaching, different things he's been teaching us since he's been back in the NFL. So just glad to have him back in gym.
Thanks, Shaun.
Next, Tim May.
Hey, Shaun, I was just wondering, last time I first time I remember this kind of thing, I call it the Shaun Spring syndrome. You're kind of out there all by yourself, hoping maybe sometimes they'll throw the ball at you and stuff. But what's it like now being out there on the corner and people having a reputation, knowing your reputation, et cetera, and maybe just getting sporadic action?
It's fun. Really been looking for it. This is what I wanted, and this is what I wanted, and just wanted in my future. But it's fun. Just really looking forward to this week because I know this week is just going to be that challenge for everybody. So last week they really didn't throw the ball, but this week is definitely going to be that challenge. So I've definitely been in that playbook, looking at film a lot, talking to others, giving them tips that I feel like will help them, and they're just taking it day by day, like I've been saying. So just really looking forward to this week.
Yeah, and what just jumps out at you about Penn State and their offense from what you saw from Saturday's game? I don't know how much video you've actually watched to this point, but I don't even know if you got to watch the end of that game. I'm sure you did maybe, but just what jumps out at you about their offense more than anything else?
Explosive. I feel like they didn't really lose too many pieces. They lost KJ Hamler, number 1, but now they got number 3. He's a freshman. He actually reminded me of KJ a little bit. He's probably way more than him, but they really. I feel like they're the same team for last year, in my opinion. Especially on the offensive side, it's like not too many pieces have been left. So.
Thanks, man.
And last question belongs to Gianna Galley.
Hi, Shaun. Penn State Media here. Cornerback to cornerback, I'm just curious. Have you gotten the chance to feel inspired and learn from a guy like Joey Porter? And, is there something or anything that you've been able to sort of maybe grow with him in a personal connection and something you want to see from him, not only in this game, but you're excited to just see him grow as a player?
I'm just excited to see everybody grow. Especially, I'm just excited for everybody to grow. And that's just me in life. I want to see people grow and get better in life in general. So I'm definitely excited. I'm definitely excited to learn from different people, not just him, but just from different people in general. I love to learn, and I love to see everybody grow. It don't have to just be my family or somebody I know. It could be somebody I see from a distance, and I see them growing. That's just a blessing in disguise that people don't notice. Like, I love to see people grow and get better in life.
Thank you, Shaun.
And that is it. Thank you very much, Shaun. Have a good day.
All right.
Okay, guys, so we have one more, Marcus Hooker. He should be here around 1:30 or a little bit after. All right, everyone, we have Marcus Hooker here, and we are going to get started with Austin Ward.
Marcus, just for that, first start, first game of the year, how did you think it went? Where would you like to see yourself maybe play better in week 2?
I would say I came into the game with the mentality of trying not to mess up, and my coaches had talked to me, and they told me that, like, you can't just think that everything's going to be perfect because, like, as much as you want to be in this game, it's not always going to be. So I had to come with a different mindset of just trying to know who I am and know what I can do and the controllables that I can't control and just play my game. So next week I'll hopefully not try to get ahead of myself in that area of the game. So I'll just kind of keep everything controlled the way I can.
Did you feel that change at all as the game went on? You guys looked a little uncertain maybe in that first quarter, but certainly the second half was pretty darn good.
I would say we were just stuck in practice mode, I would say, because we haven't been on the field as much as we usually would have, and we were just stuck in practice mode. So as the game went on, we started getting into our groove and feeling the game and started playing the way we should have.
Thanks, man.
Up next, Bill Rabinowitz.
Yes, Marcus. How hard was it to kind of get over that first missed tackle on the long run by Nebraska? Was there anything that anyone said to you or that you kind of resolved to yourself after that play?
I kind of beat myself up a little bit, but my Coach Combs and Coach Barnes had talked to me before the game, and they said that no matter what happens, you're going to make a bad play. It's not always going to be perfect. So I had to just get over it at that moment, because at that point in the game, it was just the beginning of the game. So, like, I couldn't just dwell on that one play and just force myself to dig in a hole to where, like, I can't come back from and just make everything worse. So I had to let go to play and just continue to play.
You're a Pennsylvania guy, obviously. Wideout's a big deal at Penn State. How much were you kind of looking forward to having that kind of atmosphere for this game? And are you disappointed that you're not going to have that, or are you happy you're not going to deal with it?
It was always a great atmosphere whenever I went up there, whether it was for a visit or just being there for a game. So I would always have a tremendous amount of loudness. You would hear a lot of sound when you were in that stadium. So it was just something that I've always heard and thought it was amazing. So, I mean, it would have been great playing in that arena with their fans, but at the same time, I mean, you can't just worry about the fans. You got to worry about the game in that moment.
Thanks, Marcus.
Up next, Dan Hope.
Hey, Marcus, just to, get out there and, get your first career start on Saturday, what did that mean to you?
I mean, it's been like something I've been thinking about ever since I had the chance to play. And, I mean, it came faster than I had thought it would because I was just a freshman and I haven't been a sophomore. And the years just have been going fast. So at this point, I feel like I'm not even a starter because I share the same role with Josh Proctor. So I would say me and him both play that role.
And I know you had said last time that your mentality is to get the ball. So how badly did you really want that one play to end up being a fumble?
I mean, I thought it was, but at the same time, I mean, it's an uncontrollable situation right there. It wasn't in my hands. So, I mean, if it was, then it was, but it wasn't. So, I mean, I did my job at the end of the day.
Thanks, Marcus.
No problem.
Up next, Nathan Bard.
Hey, Marcus. Saturday was our first look at that nickel package that you guys are using where you and Josh are on the field at the same time. Just what do you like about that? What do you like being kind of paired up with him on the field at the same time?
It's a great feeling because me and Josh had always been on the field together because at first I wasn't at free. And I played a different position at a certain point. And once me and him were able to be on the field at the same time, I felt comfortable. And it's not like I'm not comfortable with him off the field, but just his presence on the field with me, it's just like we have that connection to where we're always talking and getting to know what's going on the field. So it's just a comfort zone whenever he's on the field with me.
Where else were you playing before, and has that helped you at all? Anything you take from that to adapt to free?
I was playing like a hybrid linebacker spot my sophomore year, and I'll be more in the box. So, I mean, it wasn't a different change in how I played my game. It's just it was a decision based on our coach where he felt like I was better at free than in the box.
Up next, Brendan Gulick.
Hey, Marcus. Hey, first of two questions here. First one is about the fans or lack thereof in the stadium. First of all, how noticeable was it that the stadium was as empty as it was? And secondly, could you maybe hear more clearly anything that parents were shouting and cheering?
I mean, you have at certain times, but when you're on the field, you're more focused on the plays that are going on within the game. So, I mean, we had practice without fans, so we were used to not hearing anything. And we would even have music playing at times during practice. So, I mean, we practiced without fans. So, I mean, I wouldn't see any difference in how we were playing. So if there were fans there, it would just be no different than us just blocking the noise out and just playing our game.
Okay. Hey, Garrett Wilson told us yesterday his thoughts, and I want to ask you yours about trying to get up to game speed. You know, you mentioned that you guys felt like you were stuck in practice mode a little bit early on the defensive side of the ball. How long did it take for you to feel like your legs were really underneath you and you guys were moving at full speed?
I'll say after that first drive, everybody had knew in their heads that everything wasn't going the way that we thought we were going to play. So, I mean, everybody had clicked in the second gear and had that decision process in their mind and realized that that's not how we want to play. That's not how we want to do every drive. So we had talked to ourselves and talked to our coaches and even to each other and said that that's not the way we play. And we figured out that we had to step up a little bit.
Thank you.
Up next, Patrick Murphy.
Marcus, you talked about playing with Josh, but when you two kind of rotated that free position, I'm curious, just as you try and get into a rhythm of a game, when you come out and then come back in, how does that change things for you, or does it at all?
It doesn't change anything at all because we do it at practice. So it's just something I'm used to. And I feel like we're comfortable with doing that because we're both not greedy. We're both wanting each other to strive and do good. So it's not like we're fighting for the spot necessarily. We're opening arms to how we're rotating instead of just saying that we're not having a chance to play the whole game because at the same time we want to win a game. We're not worried about how much time we're getting.
And I asked Shaun about this, and I know you guys didn't get tested a ton in the secondary by Nebraska in terms of passing. Obviously, that will be a bigger deal against Penn State. But how did you kind of evaluate the secondary as a whole from that game with so many new faces starting in there?
After that first drive, everybody was playing the way we wanted to play. And if the ball was to be thrown, I felt like we were been comfortable enough to where we would be able to handle it. And Nebraska is a good team, so I mean, if they would have thrown the ball more, we would have played good D and had a better chance of stopping them from making a play.
Did you hear from Malik after the game?
Yes, I did.
What did he have to tell you?
He was telling me for my first start in the game, he said that he could tell that I was nervous because I was telling him before the game that I had overthought each play in my head, and Coach Combs would always tell us that if you're thinking about making a play, it's saying that if you make that play in your head, you'll make it in the game. And at that time, in that moment, I was thinking about missing tackles and stuff. So I would say I was just overthinking it on myself. So I mean, once it happened, I had just snapped clear of the situation and just played my game.
Thanks, man.
Next, Tim May.
Yeah, Marcus, I was wondering, do you ever catch grief from people back in your home state that you're not playing for your home state school on a week like this? What's the banter?
It's not much of them. I would say I would hear most of it from family members back home or family friends back home about Pitt more than Penn State because
Yeah.
Pitt was a school that had offered me before them back when I was in high school. So I mean, I've never heard anyone say anything really about Penn State.
What is it though, from an attitude standpoint of going back and playing in your home state? Does it juice you even more this week? I mean, just because no matter where you're from somewhere. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
how does it juice you?
It's just a great feeling getting to go back into my home state and seeing some faces that I had knew in high school. Jesse Lucada, one of my closest friends back when I was in high school. We used to always hang out and stuff, and hopefully me and him will get to see each other again because we haven't seen each other in a while. So even Journey Brown, we met in high school too. So I mean, there's going to be a lot of familiar faces, Lamont Wade and everyone. I mean, you know, a lot of them guys, you know, they're great competitors, and just looking forward to playing them. They're a great team.
What are the quickie? Do you expect them to lean on their passing game a little bit more, considering how many of their their running back situation, the guys they've lost over the last week or so? I mean, do you expect them to come at you guys from a passing standpoint? It's just what's your gut feeling right now?
I mean, as of right now, I can't even say that because at times of the week, you never know what they could put in. You don't know what type of packages they could put in. So, I mean, as of right now, I'm just going to look over the film with my coach and everybody and just look at the film in the way that they're playing it, in a way of like seeing what they're already playing and just go off of that before I could make a decision and thinking of what they can do when we play them.
Gotcha. Thanks, man.
No problem.
Up next, Tony Girdman.
Hey, Marcus, I want to ask you about the Ohio State freshman receivers. How often during practice, through camp, whenever it's been, has somebody or guys made a play that just made you stop or say wow, or I guess give them a little bit of credit for what they just did?
They all made amazing plays during practice. Jackson, we got Julian, we got G. Scott, we got all of them. All of them made great plays. And there was a point during practice where like 4 of them caught one-handed passes. And I was just like, oh, wow. Our wide receiver core is just an amazing group because like they're all athletic and they all have tremendous abilities because they're showing them during practice. So like at that moment, I knew that each of them are going to play the roles that coach wants for them, and they're going to do it the way they do it and the best of their ability.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Spencer Holbrook.
I mean, I'm always going to be nervous about a game because I care. And if I wasn't showing any type of feeling about the game, it wouldn't be a sign of me showing how I feel about the game. So it's like, as I'm going into this game, I'm going to be just as nervous as the first game, but I'm going to have a different mindset of knowing that I can make the plays that I made in the last game and this game. So it's just like I'm not going to dwell on something that I shouldn't be thinking pretty hard about. It's just think to myself and just have the conversation within my head and know that I can do it and not think that I can't do anything that I have done any time during practice. So like I just think more of trying to make the play instead of trying to think that I can't make the play.
And last question goes to Stephen Means.
Hey, Marcus, you're talking about how maybe you were overthinking it a little bit when that game started and maybe it took a little while for you to get comfortable. What series maybe did you start to feel comfortable and get into a rhythm out there?
So once I came out in the second drive, I had time to just know that like, wow, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So I was just messing around in my head for no reason because I already know that I can make that play. So I just when I went back in the game, I was just like, all right, it's time to play my game. I'm not going to worry about something that I can control myself. I can control my emotions and everything. So I knew within myself that I was going to make that play, and I made the play after that and after that and after that. So it was just something that I had to think about and realize before stepping back on the field.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Marcus. Have a good day. That is the last one.